Hello, class receiving students and teachers. Thank you. You may be seated. Still on the same strand, same sub-strand, outcome, and unit title. Now, as usual, before our new lesson, we always reflect or recap on the previous lesson. Now, in the previous lesson, the second part of the activity that you did, it was a passage. You were asked to do the passage as homework, and I hope you have done that, receiving students. In the class, we are going to be going through that passage together. Now, let's see what we have to go into those spaces. The movement of, what do we say? Heat. Okay, heat through solid substances is called conduction. Thank you. Solid substances which allow heat to pass through easily are called good conductors of heat. Solid substances which do not allow heat to pass through easily are called poor conductors of heat. What is another name for poor conductors, or another word used? Insulators. Different substances conduct heat at different rates. Thank you, receiving students. I hope you had that. Those words as your answers to those missing spaces. Now, our topic for this lesson is solids. How do I know? Before we go to that, I have a torch with me. Okay, if I put a torch on, we have light that comes on. This torch, when I put it on, we had a light that came on. Now, in the previous lesson, our lesson was on heat conductivity. This lesson today is going to be on electrical conductivity. A torch is one of the materials that uses that uses batteries or dry cells that makes it become an electric material. Now, this torch is able, whatever is in the torch is able to conduct electricity. That is why we have the torch on, which we see the light is on. Now, let's see what we have inside the torch. We have dry cells or batteries. Dry cells or batteries, which is the source of electricity. These batteries or dry cells are enabling the torch to work. But besides the batteries, there is also something that enables electricity to flow through the whole torch to produce light. You can tell me what that is. Michelle?
Wire or a conductor.
Very good. Wire or a conductor. If we look closely into this torch, we will see, like Michelle has said, there are some reels of wires inside. Now, these wires are metals. And we have learned in the previous lesson that metals are good conductors of heat or electricity. And that is what enables electricity to flow through to make the torch work or light up. So our lesson today is on electrical conductivity. I'd like us to have a look at the materials that we need for this lesson. Students in the receiving schools, I hope you have helped your teachers to collect some of those materials for your lesson today, and I hope the class has also done the same. Now, our first instruction, we are to predict which substances can conduct electricity and which can't. So let us go through quickly. We used a big chart to go through quickly. If I can have you to give us the answer. Sorry, give us whether you think glass is a conductor or insulator.
Glass is a insulator.
Okay, insulator. So we have a cross. Piece of cloth. Let's say Winnie.
Insulator.
Insulator. Copper strip. Copper strip.
Conductor.
Conductor. Nancy, plastic.
Insulator.
Insulator. Estelle, dry wood.
Insulator.
Insulator. Iron. Let's have you.
Conductor.
Conductor. Paper, Yoa.
Insulator.
Insulator. Jean, nylon rope. Rope that you usually make balloons or stream bags with, or clothesline.
Insulator.
Insulator. Did you say paper is a conductor or insulator? Oh, then that's supposed to be a cross. Cotton rope. Let's have you. The girl next to Livingstone.
Insulator.
Insulator. Aluminum foil. Let's have you, Michael.
Conductor.
Conductor. Rubber band. You give us your answer.
Insulator.
Insulator. These are our predictions. Once we do the experiment, we will confirm whether our predictions are correct or not. Now let's see if I can have someone to tell me why we say some of those materials are conductors and some are insulators. Why do we say materials like copper strip, iron, aluminum foil are conductors and the rest are insulators? Yes, Dinah?
Because they can conduct it than the other insulators.
Insulators. Okay, here we are using the word electricity. Okay, they can conduct electricity. Okay, thank you. Now, before we go to our experiment, I'd like us to quickly have a look at the standard circuit symbols. You will be setting out symbols, setting up circuits, and the circuit won't show the actual things like dry cell or battery. You will only have symbols, so we must know what each of those symbols represent. So we have the first one, which is dry cell or battery. The second one represents wire. And the third, globe, bulb, or sometimes you hear people saying lamps. And the last is switch. So in a lot of whatever you have to do with electricity, you will always have only symbols like this, not the actual pictures. Now our next instruction, it's on the slide or on the screen, is to set up electrical circuit as shown in this diagram. Now you're going to set up a simple circuit And that circuit that you set up must look like this. We've already seen what each of these symbols represent. So when you get your materials class, I'd like you to set your circuits up with the help of this diagram, and the receiving students, you also should use the circuit to help you to set up your, the diagram to set up your circuits. You should be now working on your circuit. Can you just hold this one so every one of us are supposed to be working together to set up that circuit. Some of you should be cutting the sticky tape. See the diagram to help you to set up your circuit. So the other end of the wire, you're trying to tie it there. Okay, do that. You should have 2 paper clips. How many paper clips do you have? Okay, 2. Working. I can get the still it's not lighting up. Huh? If it's not working, then you just join the other groups. Can you do that, please? It was working, but I don't know. No, about this, but join the others. Leave your things here. You should have finished with your setup of the circuits. When you set the circuit up, you should also try to check that the globe lights before you carry out the experiment. Try your, that's the switch. This is your switch. The paper clips are your switch, okay? So your globe lights, so it's okay now, you carry out the experiment, okay? Now the next instruction, you are to connect the substance, all those materials that you were asked to bring, you are to connect that from substance, the substance at point A to B. Our switch is the paper clips, the 2 paper clips is our switch. So you connect them from A to B to see whether the globe lights. If it lights, what is it? If it doesn't, what is it? And you fill your table in.
Test those materials that you have to see if they can conduct electricity.
Now, class and the receiving students, I'd like you to listen carefully. For the class, you have your worksheet handbooks. So you are supposed to be using that worksheet handbook to fill in the information in the table provided. For our students in the receiving schools, if you don't have your worksheets, then you could have that table. I have it on the big chart. You have the table drawn up, and you try to fill that table as you go through testing all those substances for conductivity of electricity. Don't forget you are testing for electricity conductivity, whether those substances can conduct electricity. We have 5 minutes to do that experiment of testing all the substance. As you test the substance, you see what happens and fill in the appropriate columns in the table that you have in your worksheets. The last instruction is also up on the screen. Take note of that, the class and the receiving students. So once you finish with the experiment, you go to the last part of the activity that we are doing. Have you tested all your substances? You did, okay. Let me see what you have. Okay. So, good. If it's conductor, you put a tick there. If it's insulator, you put a tick there. Don't worry about the rest of the what there. It's a bit what's so conductor tick, insulator tick. Insulator, you put a tick under the column insulator. Don't forget, once you finish with the experiment, the testing of those substances, you are to write a short summary, meaning you discuss together as a group on your findings of all the substances that you have tested, and have a summary written. You finished all your testing of the substances? You did. Have you discussed about your findings, the summary? Can I see it? What do you have? Eddie, you said yes. Have you discussed about your findings? Not yet. Okay, you should be doing that. And then you come up with your summary. You finished all. Where do we have X tick here? I told you to disregard the instruction there. Here it says, if put a tick if the lamp lights and across if it does not. Forget about and across if it does not. Because we already have conductor here, we have insulator here. Okay. So you are doing two things at the same time. So to make it easier, just tick under conductor, tick under insulator. We should be all with our summary. Right, let's go quickly through what you have, what you found out, your testing of all those substances. I thought I brought it. That's okay. We'll try this one. Let's see. These are our predictions. Now we are trying to confirm whether our predictions are correct. After you have done the experiment, you tested all those substances. Let's see glass. Let's have you to give our answer. Glass, is it conductor or insulator from your findings? Mike?
Insulator.
Insulator. Thank you. Piece of cloth. Give us your answer.
Insulator.
Insulator. Plastic. Let's have you Maunoa. Sorry. Copper strip. Conductor or insulator?
Conductor.
Conductor, good, thank you. Plastic. Let's have the one next to Rachel. Plastic, is it conductor or insulator? Can we go through quickly, please?
Insulator.
Insulator. Drywood, Livingstone.
Insulator.
Drywood, insulator. Nail, let's have you. Diane, give it to him.
Conductor.
Conductor. Paper. Pass it on to our friend sitting there.
Insulator.
Insulator. No. nylon rope. Natasha? It's not very clear.
Insulator.
Insulator. Cotton rope. Aquila?
Doctor. Insulator, sorry.
What did you say, conductor or insulator?
Insulator.
Insulator. Rubber band. Graham?
Insulator.
Insulator. Right. Do all our confirmation. Looking at what we have, does it, our predictions that we made, if we check with the confirmation through the experiment that we did, do they all agree with what we have as a result of the experiment? Yes, thank you. Now, I'd like to have someone to tell us what you have, okay, your summary of this lesson. Someone to give us your short summary of this lesson. Thank you. Let's save you good.
Metals are good conductors of electricity and non-metals are poor conductors of electricity.
Very good. Good summary of the whole lesson. We've just seen that metals, any form of metals, are good conductors of electricity and non-metals are insulators. Now, besides non-metals, we also have one of a substance which is not a metal but is a conductor. Anybody who knows what that is? There is a substance that is non-metal. Here we say non-metals are insulators, but we have a substance that is non-metal, but it is a good conductor. You don't have it there with you. I'm asking to find out from you, and I hope receiving students, you also think quickly and let your teacher know. Livingstone, what do you say?
Mercury.
Mercury, very good. Mercury as well as carbon. This battery has carbon in it. And it is metal, but the carbon is also a good conductor. Okay, a short summary. We have the first one, substances that conduct electricity are called conductors. And the ones that do not are called insulators. All metals conduct electricity. We have had this on our summary from one of our friends. Non-metals do not conduct electricity except carbon. A key phrase. If I can have someone to tell us what our key phrase is for this lesson. Thank you. Mike. Pastor Mike.
Electricity and conductivity.
Okay, let's see what we have. Electrical conductivity. Thank you. That's our key phrase for this lesson. Our next lesson is on expansion. Now, for your homework, I'd like you to find out definition of what expansion is. And we have expansion in solids, liquid, and gas. Now, materials for our next lesson are listed there on the screen. Teachers in the receiving schools, if you are able to have those materials, you see if you can have them, but if you cannot, then just observe with us as we go through the lesson in the activity in the next lesson. And with that, thank you, class, the receiving students and teachers for your participation.